Welcome back to the Renegade Report. I'm your host, Francis Mayer, Sports Information Director of the greatest community college athletics department in the known universe. It's BC Athletics. And we are going to be checking in right now with Coach Chudy, head coach of the 3-1 Bakersfield College Renegade football squad. They're headed this weekend to the glorious new football stadium that is in El Camino. And we're going to be broadcasting live there, and you can watch on Bakersfield.com. But right now, let's go to Coach Chudy. Coach, how are you today?
Just doing great. Thank you for asking.
Awesome, Coach. We're coming off a win, and I am wondering how you feel about our prospects going into this next game.
Well, El Camino presents a few problems. Their quarterback is a very, very talented young man. He's transferred from West Virginia. He's very athletic. He was actually a starting receiver for West Virginia last year, and for whatever reason, he decided to leave, and now he's playing quarterback. He's very athletic, and so he's a guy that we certainly have to contain and try and keep corralled. Defensively, they're a consistent defense. They run to the ball. We are coming off a pretty good offensive performance last week, where we were able to kind of mix and match the running game, and we were able to kind of let our wideouts really utilize their athleticism, and we got some good matchups, with what Harbor was doing personnel-wise, and because we were able to kind of run the ball successfully enough, we were able to throw the ball over the top a few times, and our guys made some nice throws, and we made some nice catches, so that was a nice thing, and, obviously we started off the game, Harbor was very generous in some turnovers, and it was a good win for us. So El Camino, we haven't played them in a while. It's a new coach. We've never played against the guy that's the coach there right now, and so it's a whole new system set up, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and of course the new stadium, which it's no Memorial Stadium, but it's supposed to be pretty nice. And Coach, I wanted to go back to what you said about their quarterback being from Virginia, and that seems to West Virginia, excuse me. Yeah. That seems to be a bit of a trend here in Southern California. Ventura has a quarterback who played for the Vandals up in Idaho, and he's coming down to maybe take a new direction in his career. How strong is the talent level in Southern California, from Bakersfield all the way to the coast, and then of course north?
Well, I think if you're talking about community college football,
absolutely,
I would venture to say that. The quality of football that we have in Southern California for community college, the 37 schools that play down south and obviously we're in the 18 that are up in the top tier. I think it's the quality of that 18 is by far from top to bottom higher quality than what you find really anywhere. Not saying that there isn't a NJCAA team that isn't a high caliber football team, but the quality from top to bottom is certainly there, and there's a lot of consistency from middle of the pack up. So it's good, great competition. That's why if you look at records every year since we've gone to this new tiered system, there's a lot of guys that are 5-5 and 6-4, and it's just because the quality competition is so good.
Well, and that's that parity that people talk about in any sports league. It makes it better for the spectator, and it makes it better, for competition all around. And speaking of competition and parity, there's some right there on the Renegade roster. We saw 2 quarterbacks play in the last game, and our running attack has been very balanced. It seems like opposing teams, it'd be really hard for them to bet on what they're going to see from us from week to week. We have a lot of weapons, don't we, Coach?
Well, I think, we feel good about some of the matchups that we can create offensively with some of our skill guys. They present a real problem for people. And, going into last week's game, Caesar had taken more reps during the week, and we just kind of felt like he was better prepared and deserved to start. And he did a really nice job starting his first college football game. And then Dalton came in and did a nice job as well. And so, yeah, we're very fortunate to have 2 guys that are trigger guys that we feel comfortable with, and our team can rally behind either one of those guys, and so that's a position to be in. So we're fortunate there. And like I said, our skill guys really create some matchup problems, and we've been able to take advantage of those at times. Last week we were able to take advantage of that a lot, and hopefully we'll continue to build on those mismatches when we can get people into those kind of mismatches.
Well, and it seems just like a case of the old, finger in the dam. I mean, you plug one hole, Derek Vickers, I guess he was sort of contained, but not really, because he burned him for 2 touchdowns at the receiver position. But he didn't get the volume of yards that he's gotten in the 3 other games this season. But then other people picked up the load. So that's very exciting. Coach, on the defensive side of the ball, I know that earlier in the season there were some breakdowns and some things that you wanted to see improved. How do you feel about the defensive unit going into this game against El Camino?
Well, I think we're getting better. Obviously, we played a better performance, a little bit more consistent last week. We had a couple lapses here and there, but as this season progresses, each week we have guys that are getting more and more reps and turns and understand, the scheme of the defense and how they're supposed to fit. And, if we can just keep guys that between the years we don't implode, and I think, we're going to be fine as this season progresses. This will be our last non-conference game, and El Camino does have some speed, so we're going to have to contain that. And like I said earlier, the quarterback is a handful. He's as dangerous running with the football, and most of his runs that where he creates some problems are not so much design runs; they're just they're pass plays that go awry, and he takes off and makes things happen. So we're going to have to really do a nice job of make sure our rush lanes are solid, and we have guys that are prepared to wrap him up and get him on the ground when we get a chance to. So it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Now, the other aspect of the game that we wanted to see some improvements in was the kicking game. And if this one is close, then that could be a factor. And is that a thing that can really make big improvements from week to week? Are there adjustments, small adjustments that can be made, or is that just kind of a wish?
Well, no, I think no. I mean, it's a big part of the game. Obviously, field position is huge. Whether you're returning a kick or covering a kick, keeping and maintaining field position is a big part of the strategy of our game. And we think we can improve on our kickoff returns, and part of that has to do with the quality of the kick. But we've got to do a better job with execution there, because our return guys, we feel like either one of those guys can make something happen when they get their hands on the ball. And punt return last week, we were up against a guy that his average was. He wasn't going to swing the field position with a strong leg, and so we were just trying to field the ball and fair catch it, and keep the ball from hitting one of our guys, which unfortunately I did one of them, but it bounced out of bounds, and we prepared for that. But you never know on these crazy kicks. So no, we work hard on the kicking game. It's a big part of what goes on during the course of our practice week. So it's a very big part of what goes on Saturdays for us. And every week there's going to be a game that the swings, the tides swung by the kicking game. Just watched in college football or in the pro game. So it's a big part of what goes on.
And Coach, when we talk about that preparation, just to give folks an idea, there's practice every day, and of course our student athletes have their obligations in the classroom because they can't transfer on to the next level. And as my dad never hesitated to tell me, you're not going to get through in life on your good looks. Well, partially because I don't have them, and partially because the world doesn't work that way. So they have their classes to attend. You have your classes to teach. All of our coaches, or most of our coaches, especially the full-time ones, are professors as well. But you guys get right back to work on Sunday, don't you?
Yeah, no, football's a 7-day-a-week job right now. During the season, it's a lot of hours, a lot of preparation. A lot of data input, a lot of film watching. It's very time-consuming, a lot of very tedious work, and I think that's most most people will say that the wife of a football coach never sees their husband very often during the fall, and that's why it's time consuming. It's a lot of data entry, a lot of film study. So we're working 7 days a week right now. It's a grind. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But it goes fast. It just seems like we started yesterday, so we're almost halfway done with our season.
Right, and then these young men are going to face the challenge of getting into schools and taking the next step into their lives, and then you're going to face the challenge of restocking the team, because at our level, you have 2 years with these young men to get them shaped up for the next station in their lives. But then we need more talent. Now, thankfully, Kern County has a ton of talent, and Coach, this year's team, these really are Kern County All-Stars. I mean, we have a ton of homegrown talent, don't we?
We do. Yeah, we do. We're really concerned more about El Camino on Saturday. We kind of take it one day at a time right now. So we still have a long ways to go, and we're like I said, it's gone by fast, but we're not looking down the road. We're looking for. We've got 2 more workouts today and tomorrow, and then we climb on the bus Saturday morning and drive down to Torrance. So,
Coach,
our attention's on the Warriors, and that's where we got to stay focused in on that.
This, friends, is my favorite part of my job. I get mentored by 20 of the best coaches in the United States on an almost daily basis. There you go. Coach just reminded us to take it day by day and pay attention to what's right in front of us. But my favorite advice from Coach recently, I don't know, there's a tie. It's either know your role, do your job, or the only thing we can control is effort. So I'm going to leave you with all 3 of those folks. And Coach Chudy, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck against El Camino this weekend. You can still buy tickets for the Rooter Bus by calling 395-4266 and reserve your spot soon. You'll get to travel in style while our friends from Orange Belt Stages take care of the driving, and you get to travel with the world-famous Bakersfield College cheerleaders. Coach Chudy, thanks again for your time.
Thank you very much. Friends,
don't go anywhere. We're going to come back. We're going to check in with Brett Clark of the BC Wrestling team and find out what they're up to this weekend. And also, I just want to tell you, I didn't bring this up with Coach Chudy, but like he said, he's concentrated on the here and now. They're ranked 15th in the state. So like he told you, this football here in California is amongst the best in the entire nation. And BC, well, we're 15th. But I'll tell you what, we got the best stadium in the world. And the best fans. So get your tickets to the Rooter Bus now, 395-4266, or you can wait and roll the dice and pay cash at the Clue Fieldhouse. For more information, please give the athletic office a call or visit the website at gogades.com. We're going to check in with our friend Rambia Shagel, and he's going to tell us about the International Soccer Challenge. Plus, we're going to hear from Coach Brett Clark and BC Volleyball. That's a treat. Don't go anywhere. There's more Renegade Report coming up.